Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Because you know I'm all about that bass, no trouble. I'm all about that bass, no
What's
trouble.
up out there, AfterBuzzers? I'm your host, Erica Davis, and you're watching episode 3 of Bad Judge. Now, normally I'm rocking with my girls, Stacy Ike and Steph Z, but I'm going to hold it down for the crew tonight, solo dolo, but we have Marisa in the booth. Marisa!
What's up, everybody?
What's up? So Marisa sat in with me and held it down for Stacy and for Steph Z in their absence for episode 3 of Bad Judge, One Brave Waitress. Now, Marisa, have you ever been a waitress in your life?
No, but I have worked in a restaurant, and I know what it's like to be in that environment. So I appreciate anyone who does it, who still do it, who has done it, and it's not the easiest profession. But it takes a lot of work.
It's a tough job. Now, we're going to get into the sexy waitress, but this whole episode was about essentially a case where a waitress from BJ Knockers, which I'm assuming is a knock on Hooters, a knock on Hooters.
Because, of course, they have to make fun of that.
Of
And
course.
who hasn't made fun of Hooters?
Have you been to Hooters before?
I have.
Do you love their wings?
I like their fries. Their
They do
fries
have
are good.
fries. Have you ever tried their fried pickles?
No.
They're really good.
No.
I don't know if they still have them, but they used to be good back in the day. So this brave waitress is is on trial, or I'm sorry, not the brave waitress actually. The owner of BJ Knockers is on trial for sexually harassing his wait staff. That would never happen at a place called BJ Knockers, Marisa. What the heck?
Of course, but I feel if they're gonna make fun of Hooters, which a lot of people, it's unfortunate. Hooters is actually a really good restaurant chain, and the fact that people would automatically make a harassment statement
True.
of that type of environment, and we know that the waitress tend to be more busty there, and
Yeah.
there's more physical appeal.
They
in
got big
staff.
booties too. They got big breasts and big booties.
But to make that storyline an already go-to type of story, to make that, just
Yeah.
imitate that type of line.
Well, the show is called Bad Judge, so they're
That
all
is
about
true.
doing all bad things all the time. Okay, so the show opened up with Rebecca and the sexy fireman, kind of, I guess, getting freaky in her living room, right?
Getting physical.
Getting
definitely.
physical. Okay, physical. That's a better word than freaky. You're right. My mind is always in the gutter.
It sounded off a little bit more freaky than it really was.
I know. Like we were watching
Like,
the show.
what's going on?
So they were getting a little physical. He was teaching her some, is it jiu-jitsu or some self-defense techniques, we'll say.
It was working.
It was working. And she put sexy fireman in a headlock as he was asking her out to the fireman's ball.
I thought there was going to be at least 2 different situations. And I think I mentioned it too. I was like, either he's going to pass out because she's having that hold way too tight, or they're going to start making out. And it turns out to be the previous.
and you're right. And Marisa, I know this is your first time watching. Is it your first time watching Bad Judge?
Yeah.
Okay, it's your first time watching Bad Judge. But we've talked about in the past how Bad Judge seems to be a little bit cheesy and a little bit predictable. So when we were watching the show and you were like, oh, and I was like, what's wrong, Marisa? And she's like, I think they're going to start making out, or I think he's going to pass out. And I was like, A or B, you got one of them. You were right.
Yeah.
So whatever, still the cheese factor, but I think
Still fun to watch.
It was fun to watch tonight, actually. I thought the funniest thing at the beginning of the episode was when Judge Rebecca Wright did not know the stenographer's name.
Nah, I felt bad because the stenographer, they're always there, and you never really think about them. They're the unthankful. They have the thankless job.
They do have a thankless job. I wasn't sure if she did not know if she was a stenographer by trade or if she didn't know her name. Like, it was kind of unclear. Like, did she not know her name, or did she
Typer lady.
Like, yeah, she's like, you typer lady. it was funny. It was, it
That
was
was funny, yeah.
And I keep on like highlighting what was funny because the first 2 episodes really weren't as humorous to me. I know you're just joining in on the show.
I thought that was funny because the stenographers they're constantly always there, and even in meetings and depositions and whatnot, they're always there to write down everything, but you never really think of them. They're flies on the wall.
I have a girlfriend who was going to school, I think, to be a stenographer, and I think it's a really like grueling process to learn that trade. I mean, I don't know. I don't.
I mean, it's
I don't
a
have
it's a
experience in it. I don't
very
know.
good profession. They get paid well.
They do get paid well. Maybe we're in the wrong profession, Marisa.
Yeah.
So the sexual harassment case, that was the centerpiece of everything. Chad Forbes, the owner of BJ Knockers, I thought was so sexy. And I thought that he and the Honorable Judge Rebecca Wright had a really good chemistry. Like, did you feel like they were kind of making eyes at each other, or was that more of Rebecca?
Definitely. I think it was definitely flirting. But we know Rebecca, she'll say anything to people just to, I don't know, not really build a relationship, but just get along. She's the kind of person who will just say anything and doesn't really care what people would think about her and acquaintances and whatnot.
I was trying to check out their body language, and I was like, are they making eyes? Is she wanting to make a pass at Mr. BJ Knocker's owner? And I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it, but he was cute. I do like how Judge Rebecca Wright talked about how her life is in shambles. She mentioned to Tedward, the bailiff, how embarrassed that she was that she didn't know Judy's name, the stenographer.
Her name.
Yeah.
Her name.
Yeah, the stenographer's name is Judy, for you guys watching out there.
She kept trying to, get the name out of him in sneaky ways.
Yeah,
That
she was
funny.
like, it starts with the J. She's like, idiot.
Something Jewy.
Something Jewy.
Shalom.
That was funny.
That was
That was a high moment. Okay, we're making progress here, Bad Judge. But she acknowledged how horrible of a person she was for not being able to know Judy's name, and she also talked about the death of the van. So, Marisa, last week's episode, her van, her Pride and Joy vehicle, blew up on the side of the road at the end of the episode. You guys remember? And she had so many memories, and that van had been with her, like, her whole life. Forever. And we all out there have had, like, that one car or maybe two cars or so. I think Steph Z said she has her VIN number of her favorite car tattooed on her body.
Well, cars have memories too, and I feel like she's a judge who probably makes good money, who could easily afford another vehicle, but this is one that she kept for sentimental purposes.
And it was it was the worst van ever. I was very excited when the van blew up on the side of the road last episode. Good job, NBC. But she talked about that tonight, and she talked about how she hadn't acknowledged the death of her van, and she talked about how she didn't know Judy's name. And I really appreciated that, because last week we mentioned, when are we going to finally start seeing Kate Walsh own up to her faults and to her badness? And I thought that was a step. That was a step in that direction. No? Yeah.
Probably. I mean, it forces her to move on in that way, to let go of things in the past, but to keep building forward and buy new things and bringing things in. It forces her to grow up in a little bit.
It forces you to buy a new car, girl. Yeah. That's what it forces you to do.
Progress forward in life.
I thought it was cute too when the firefighter was looking for her at the courthouse. Everyone, Judge Hernandez came into her quarters. That's what it's called, right? Quarters, judge's quarters. Yeah. Yeah. Quarters, nickels, whatever. Judge Hernandez came into her quarters and was like, "There's a fireman looking for you." And the Tedward came in, and of course, he's roaming the hallways, waiting to ask her if he actually asked her out to the fireman's ball, and it was really cute. I know you kind of like, Marissa's like, oh yeah. It was really cute though. He finally found her, and they got into the elevator. And
well, I will give it to him. He is assertive.
He is assertive.
So, look at him chasing her. Like the pursuit. That's what's fun.
Chasing some judge tail. Yeah. I like that. And it's really interesting, too, because we looked at him as being, like, such a dummy. Like, we looked at him as being, like, a dimwit and, like, not really smart and, like, not assertive and just really like a blank space.
Well, he's definitely assertive tonight's episode.
Oh, he was. Yes, he was. So I thought that was really cute how he, actually got onto the elevator and was like, did I ask you? But it was really funny, though, because,
Well, I think that the first scene, the opening scene, was he mentioned the ball, but then she purposely knocked him out. And had that chokehold on him. So she would avoid giving him an answer, but so he never really got a clear answer. So yes, it's being assertive and getting that answer that he wants.
Why do you think she didn't want to go with him? I mean, I guess we found out at the end, but why do you think? Is because he's, I don't know, is he too sexy? Is he too stupid?
Well, I think their meeting was just one of those situations of convenience, because we saw in last week's episode where they crossed paths in the street because he was just there. I mean, it was unplanned, and it seems like a random situation that she didn't really look for him in that way.
I mean, because really, I mean, honestly, like in real life, folks, like what professional, what lawyer, what judge is going to be seen like roaming around the courthouse, you know, with the sexy fireman from the local fire department? Like, does that happen in real life?
It might.
Does that happen in real life?
It might.
I don't know. Well, you know what? I know it probably happens in real life, but maybe not as public and as obvious. But
and as funny as the show is.
as funny as it was. Again, have to keep on highlighting it was a funny show tonight. My favorite part of tonight's episode was when they went car shopping, because we had our predictions last week whether or not she would get either a hoopty, a Porsche, or a Prius. Now, I had this obsession. I know.
Okay.
I had this obsession with her van. I think I became obsessed with Judge Wright's van because I was like, this is the most ridiculous van. Like, this is really pushing it, forcing it. Like, we understand, like, you know, she's kind of like trash. You know, is trash a strong word? Is that a strong word?
Maybe not trash, but she's definitely liberal, and she just doesn't care. And I mean, as a judge, ironically, she doesn't care about other people's judgments.
Okay.
On her.
But you don't get like a trashy feel from her though? No, not at all. Okay, maybe. No, okay.
I'm gonna say trash.
Okay. Well, I thought her van was trash, and I thought that she was trash. So we made this bet about what kind of car she would get next. And so I think Stacey Ike said a Porsche, and Steph Z said a Prius, and I said a hoopty, because I'm like, how are they going to deviate so far from what has been such a defining part of her character? And the van was such a defining part of her character because it was a mess, just like her and just like her life. So I was very happy when they went car shopping, and the car, first of all, the whole car lot, Marisa, the whole car lot was a car lot full of hoopties, like buckets. Okay, are you familiar with the term hoopty? Is that like
yeah.
So
hoopty.
okay, a bucket, a car that needs to be in the junkyard. So like the whole car lot was freaking a bunch of like junkyard cars.
So it's not like but that already appeals to her, considering the vehicle she just owned. So yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that would make sense. She would go with it.
Yes, that's why I was like, yeah. So Stace and Steph and you guys out there, I won the bet. You know what?
Congratulations.
We didn't shake on that bet. Ah! You know what? Round of applause.
There you go.
And my water almost fell.
I mean, I think it'd be funny if she did choose a Prius or a Porsche, because it's so against her character. It's not like her.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if she had like a Porsche or a Prius somewhere, like in a second house's
they're not
garage
bad
or something.
Cars. I own a Prius. I mean,
Okay.
I drive a Prius, so they're really good cars.
Well, she got a hoopty.
There you go.
She opted for the hoopty over the Prius. So yeah, I was happy about that. And then of course at the car lot, she leaves the fireman. He's still trying to ask her out to the fireman's ball, and she literally drives away while he's asking her out. She's really avoiding him. Like, she really does not want to go to this ball with him.
Yeah, and I think there was that quick line where, was it Tedward who was like, "Do you really want to go out with the judge or with the fireman?" And she's like, "Yeah." Even then, you can tell she was uncertain about it.
Yeah.
Like, she wasn't really already committed or wanted to be in any type of relationship with him.
It's like a one night stand type thing. I mean, of course.
Fling.
She's a bad judge. Fling. Bad judges have one night stands.
Non-committal.
Yeah. I like it. To me, the funniest, most overall humorous point to me of the show tonight was when Chad Forbes, the owner of BJ Knockers, was on the stand, and they presented the diary as testimony. And I don't know, there was just something so charming, and so his humor is so subtle, but it was so perfect. It was so, like, his timing was just on point. I laughed out loud. LOL. LOL tonight, Marissa. Are you surprised?
No.
Did you
no.
LOL?
I mean, there were a lot of funny moments in the show.
But yeah, I thought Chad Forbes' testimony was really funny. I also thought that tonight's interaction between the judge and Tedward was, I guess, even more authentic. You know, we talked about how Tedward, the bailiff, and Judge Wright have this brother-sister relationship, but we hadn't really seen much of it. You know, we saw him give her advice here or there, but tonight, like, he was actually giving more advice and seemed to be more involved in the episode. And I think we kind of saw their relationship grow tonight more than we had in the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, well, if you think about it, the first 2 episodes, you're still establishing characters and still getting used to people's names and, like, what kind of personalities they are. And now it's, like, 3, 4 episodes in. I mean, we're only on the 3rd one. Like, now we can understand, like, where everyone stands, who they are. So I can understand why it seems like more character growth because we just know who this person is now.
Yeah, like, I like that. I like their relationship. And I just want to backtrack everyone out there. Episode 1, I was, again, minding the gutter. I was like, oh, it would be awesome to see the judge and the bailiff have a fling or something. Like, now after seeing this episode, I was way off.
No.
That's disgusting. It's like,
Well, I wouldn't say disgusting, just like they're co-workers, they see each other every day. I think it would already get complicated, and we know that she's the kind of person who, it doesn't seem like she would date within the company realm, like, or where her professional work life.
well, although she's sleeping with what's his name, Gary Hansen. She was sleeping. Well, yeah, they were sleeping together. So I mean, but that's a little different from the bailiff.
Just a slightly different.
Slightly different. So forgive me out there for having such an incestuous mind. That's, again, disgusting. And also, I love tonight her wardrobe. She's had some hits and some misses in the past couple weeks, but tonight I thought she was very classy. And I think, for me, that's a really big deal. Not because I'm some fashion guru, but because I'm like, look, okay, wear your Daisy Dukes, whatever, we get, you know.
At the beginning of the...
You know, we get that you like Forever 21 H&M clothes and you're a 45-year-old judge.
But you know what? That doesn't matter because she's under that big shawl. Not shawl,
her robe.
Big robe.
Yeah.
Anyways, no one cares. I mean, she could be in a bikini for all we know about.
Well, you know what was the matter with that, Marissa, was when she would come to work, getting out of her van, and she would have on like these bustiers and these like corsets and tight skirts and like very provocative clothing, and then she would put on her robe. It just seemed really forced in the first 2 weeks, but today she was still sexy. She was still sexy, and
I mean, Kate Walsh is sexy.
she is sexy.
So,
Yeah, she's looking real good, but she was still sexy and still, you know, very presentable. It was still believable that she could be a judge, but still be like a hot judge. So I think kudos, A plus. A plus to her wardrobe tonight. A plus to the character development with the bailiff. A plus to the car shopping. She chose a Ford. She chose an old Ford.
Fords are good. Fords are good.
They're good trucks. My dad had a Ford growing up, and it was
I used to drive an F-150 truck.
An
So
F1?
Fords are awesome.
You like them?
Yeah.
I like them too. They're big. They're dirty. They're like a.
And they can't mess with you.
That's right. They cannot mess with you. I know. But the tag, we didn't talk about the tag on the car. The tag on the back of the car that she chose said Coke King, as in like not Coca-Cola. So the other Coke, the Coke that you don't drink.
Well, you know, she does do drugs and stuff. I mean, she had the special brownies last
That's right.
episode, so who knows what other kind of drug experimental things that she's done.
Yeah, I
So,
mean,
it's not far from her character.
we're not advocating drug use, but you know, if a grown 45-year-old judge wants to dabble in some recreational stuff, hey, have at it.
Whatever.
So I thought those things were perfect tonight. I think overall, I think the show is becoming more familiar. I'm actually able to watch it and to laugh and to like feel like I'm getting to know more about each character, and I'm not sitting there thinking, oh my God, this is so super cheesy.
No, and I think it's like, okay, the first, again, we've already established people and who they are and their personalities. Now it's just like, what kind of crazy situations are they going to do now? And how is she going to handle it, or how is she going to go about it?
And I think too, talking about how she's going to handle her situations. I thought that she handled the sexual harassment suit very well. We all thought that she was, going to side with the prosecuting attorney, but what she did instead was she dismissed the case because the diary evidence from the waitress's roommate was deemed impermissible evidence. So like now we're getting all lawyer speaking here.
Well, they got to have some legit
we're getting
stuff in it.
getting all lawyery in here. I did double in political science, though.
There you go.
There you go. I'm using my political
See,
science
I did
major. I'm using that good political science major degree right now. But yeah, so I like that they actually saw through the entire case, and we saw her be a judge, because in the past week she's just kind of been like, oh, whatever, do this, do that. It's just been so unbelievable or not believable.
Well, yeah, when I first watched the show, and I thought it because she is so out there and a very unpredictable kind of character. I personally thought, it's like, how did she even become a judge in the first place? But because she is judge, she passed her bar test and all that. She has to have some level of intellect to be able to go through all that. So she does know stuff, despite the fact of all the crazy things she does on the side, which really conflicts with how did she even get there in the first place?
And speaking of how she got there in the first place, Marisa, tonight she talked about how she used to be a cocktail waitress. So when she was basically berating and I guess reprimanding Chad Forbes, the owner of BJ Knockers, she was like, I used to be a cocktail waitress. I know how, shady you owners and you customers can be.
Yeah, she was empathetic.
Yeah, she was very empathetic. Like, we saw several different sides of her. We saw her empathy. We saw her seriousness. We saw her, put like her foot down. Like, we
She
saw.
can relate. She's been there.
Yeah, she was a cocktail waitress. So cocktail waitresses out there all over the world.
Props to you.
Props to you, and you too can one day be a bad judge. At the end, when Chad came out of the courtroom, and he was like, Rebecca, come here. And I really thought, Marisa, I really thought that they were gonna show us that they had maybe like slept together, or that they had some kind of like illicit friendship or relationship. But they didn't. Like, he was just being fresh because he was so familiar, because A, his court case had gotten dismissed and he was happy, and B, he was just Rico Suave thinking he could call the judge Rebecca. And then she put him in the chokehold thing with her legs that the fireman taught her. So everything came full circle.
Yeah.
It came full circle. I would have never thought at the beginning of the episode that the sexy fireman was teaching Rebecca something that she could use against a criminal.
And that just gives another reason why to talk to the sexy fireman and be like, hey, you actually did do something. And
True.
Like another flirtatious moment that they could talk about, like, and bond over, maybe build a relationship.
Maybe they can do that, but considering she finally told him she did not want to go to the fireman's ball. Now, that was...
Could you imagine her at a ball, though?
No, I can't. But
exactly.
I love the fact that he was like, I really didn't want to go with you anyway. The fireman actually did not want to go with her anyway because he felt like she was too above his caliber of woman to take, and he was intimidated by her, and she didn't want to go, and he didn't want to take her. He felt obligated to take her because they had slept together, and she felt obligated to kind of concede because she doesn't know how to say no to him. But they finally put all that on the table, and I thought that was good. And he's not going to be as dumb as he was in the following weeks, because now he's reading To Kill a Mockingbird. He's reading another book.
That's a great book.
It's good.
So good.
I haven't read it since like 5th grade, though.
I haven't read it since high school, but great book.
Yeah, or maybe I did read it in high school. Oops,
Harper Lee.
It was to my high school English teachers who it's been a long time.
But I love how reading that book automatically makes you smarter.
It's like...
it's a great book there's a lot of a lot of cases going on.
Yes.
That's an American historical book.
And considering that the sexy fireman had only read one book previously, I mean, he can't do anything but get smarter. I mean, you can't get any dumber if you've only read one book. And if anyone out there has only read one book, you need to turn this off and go read another book right now.
Go read To Kill a Mockingbird right now.
Yeah, seriously. So yeah, everything came full circle. My overall take on the show, much better than the first 2 episodes. I think we've got something here. We might have struck gold, guys. Might have struck gold.
Right. The cool thing about the show is that you wouldn't, when you think Judge, you think so gravitas and so serious for the most part, and then to have a show that kind of goes against that stereotype, it's fun, and that's where they can play and be creative and think of all these crazy situations that the normal audience or normal person wouldn't think of. So. Yeah, I can see the fun and creative aspect of it.
And they did an awesome job this week of making it funny, making it creative, but still making it realistic enough that I wasn't like, oh my God, where's the remote?
Yeah.
Any predictions? Predictions for next week?
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Predictions, Marissa. What do you foresee happening?
You know what? I still think this Fireman might still be in the picture.
Oh.
Even though she did tell him no. I think he's still very interested.
Okay.
So it's not the end of his character. I think he's going to be around for a while.
Okay. I predict. I got to think of something really good because yours was so sound. I got to think of something good. I predict that she is going to stumble upon another love interest. And I think that Robbie, the cute little boy from episode 1, is going to come back into the picture. And so she's going to have to try to resolve her new love life and balance that with her work life and balance that with Robbie. I just threw a whole lot of stuff against the wall. I mean, you're like, what are you talking about?
She can hardly balance her own life.
I can hardly balance what I just said. Okay, can't balance that. But yeah, great episode tonight. I hope that you guys loved it as much as we did. We will be back next week for episode 4 of Bad Judge. Thanks, guys, for joining us. I am your host, Erica Davis, and we got Marissa in the booth joining us.
Where can we follow you?
Thank you. You have to start watching the show with us now.
Yeah, I mean, this is a fun show.
It's awesome.
Where can everyone follow you?
Oh, everyone, you're like, we're yes. You can follow me at Erica Renee D on Twitter, Erica, Renee D on Twitter, and Erica Renee D on Instagram.
Awesome. And you can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Serafini TV. You can follow all of us here at AfterBuzz on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all those fun social media platforms at AfterBuzz TV.
All right, guys, until next week, we will see you for another episode of Bad Judge. Good night.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.